Good morning, almost good afternoon to everyone out there. This is a special edition of Weather Where You Are. We are going to talk about this upcoming hurricane season, which officially starts in just a few days, June 1st. NOAA has issued their official seasonal outlook for the hurricanes this year, and they are very confident that this season is going to be extremely active in the Atlantic Ocean. In fact, they are predicting an 85% chance of an above average season, only a 10% chance of a near normal season, and only a 5% chance of a below average season. Now, NOAA, you guys know, is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. They are the ones that we look to for hurricane predictions each year. And I'll tell you, in the last several years, they've tried to kind of walk the line. They may predict slightly above average, slightly below average, but this is the most bullish prediction I have ever seen from them, okay? Here are the actual numbers. Normally, we see 14 named storms. They are predicting 17 to 25, up to double the normal named storms. Usually in a typical hurricane season in the Atlantic, we see 7 hurricanes. They are predicting 8 to 13. And we normally see 3 major hurricanes, which is category 3 or higher. They are predicting 4 to 7. So again, almost double the normal major hurricanes. Here are the hurricane names this year. We'll start with Alberto, then Beryl, Chris, Debbie, Ernesto, Francine, Gordon, Helene, Isaac, Joyce, Kirk, Leslie, then Milton, Nadine, Oscar, Patty, Raphael, Sarah, Tony, Valerie, and then William. You guys know that if they're predicting 25 named storms, we could make it through almost the entire alphabet. Back in 2020, we made it through the entire alphabet. We had to start with Greek alpha, beta names thereafter. So it could be one of those types of seasons this year. Usually the tropical season is in the warmest months when the ocean water is the warmest from June to November. The season usually peaks August, September, and October. Mid-September is when ocean sea surface temperatures are at their warmest. That's when we usually see our peak season. Now, there's a couple of factors that are going into their bullish prediction. We're going to go through those. One of them is sea surface temperatures. That's the major one. I want to take you through where hurricanes normally form by month. You can see in June, the main formation region is closer to land in those more shallow waters because those ocean water temperatures are warmer, so usually the Caribbean and the East Coast. Then in July, it kind of shifts further out to sea. You can see by August, we see large formation way out in the Atlantic Ocean, also a large formation along the eastern Atlantic. And then September, this is peak season. Most of the activity comes from the mid-Atlantic region, also a good source region in the Gulf of Mexico and the eastern Atlantic. Then the ocean starts to cool in October. Still a good amount of formation in the Caribbean and the Atlantic. And then November, very slight chance of formation usually, again, in those shallower ocean waters. So there's a couple of ingredients that you need for hurricane formation. Number one, you have to have water temperature above 80 degrees. That's kind of the fuel that helps energize these storms. The warmer the ocean water, the more fuel there is to add to that fire. You also need a lot of moisture, so clusters of thunderstorms coming off of Africa or previous kind of tropical waves with a lot of moisture, those are source zones for where those storms start to organize themselves into hurricanes. You also need a low wind shear at high levels in the atmosphere. What that means is you need winds that are light and usually going in the same direction. Light winds allow these tropical systems to really take shape, and if the winds are too high, then they can get torn apart at upper levels in the atmosphere. So low wind shear is also a major ingredient for hurricane formation. Let's talk about all those ingredients. Right now, our sea surface temperatures in the Caribbean are at a level, or they're warm, they're sitting at about 84 degrees, okay? That's as warm as they normally are in August. It's the warmest ever recorded in the Caribbean, and you can see many areas. We're not even at hurricane season yet, right? We're in May. Many areas along the Georgia coastline, especially in the Gulf, are already sitting above that 80-degree mark. So it's already so warm in these areas that it's just going to get warmer from here. This year has been record-breaking in terms of ocean warmth. In February, the sea surface temperature across all of the oceans in the globe was the warmest ever recorded, and I think that is really one of the main reasons that they're predicting this very active hurricane season. You can see in the Gulf, ocean water well into the 80s. Down in the Caribbean, it's 85 degrees is the ocean water. Even as far north as like the mid-Atlantic, we're already sitting at 75 degrees. So it's just so warm that this is usually the kind of warmth we see in the later hurricane months and well into the hurricane season. But because we're already seeing this warm ocean water, that's definitely going to factor into any hurricanes that do form, maintaining their strength and also intensifying really rapidly. This is the sea surface temperature anomaly. So I just wanted to show you this to give you some perspective. Any area that you see in yellow or even into the oranges, that is warmer than average water. The blue is the only areas that are seeing below average temperatures currently. So you can see pretty much the entire Atlantic basin is sitting with above average sea surface temperatures. That is a major factor in them predicting an active season. In addition to that, we're going out of an El Nino and into a La Nina, which is an oceanic pattern in the Pacific Ocean. But usually during La Nina years, we see lower wind shear in the atmosphere. And again, that can help promote hurricane formation. So those two factors are leading us to believe that this could be a season very similar to 2020. I wanted to show you some of the last couple years. In 2020, it was a record season. We saw 30 named storms, 14 hurricanes, and 7 major hurricanes. That is kind of what NOAA is predicting this year. The last couple of years have been very quiet. Last year in 2022 was a little bit quieter, but we're expecting to see that, okay? Here are the tropical cyclones that have impacted us here in North Georgia. You guys know usually when these systems hit land, they lose their strength. They need ocean water. So when they don't have ocean water to help fuel them, they rapidly decrease in strength. So usually by the time these systems reach us here, they are tropical depressions or even less. So that's wind speeds less than 39 miles per hour. But back in 2020, in a season very similar to the one that we're predicting this year, we had Tropical Storm Zeta. It was still a tropical storm when it moved through. I think it spawned like 6 or 7, maybe even upwards of 10 tornadoes in our area. Many lost power. So just wanted to give you an idea that that could be something that we see again this season here closer to home, okay? So again, a very active season on tap in the Atlantic. It will be very interesting to see what ends up playing out, but NOAA predicting a very bullish hurricane season, which will begin officially in about 4 days and will extend through the end of November.